Hey guys, it's Libby. Welcome to my Victober TBR. Sorry I kind of dipped on you guys for like 2 months. It was just earlier this week. I was looking at my channel and I realized that I hadn't actually uploaded anything since my July wrap up. Yeah, so I went to the Jane Austen Festival in Bath. If you want pictures, you can check out my Instagram. And so that was sort of 2 weeks of fun. I also spent a lot of time working on a vlog for my other channel, which is about historical costuming, where I sort of live as close to a Regency life as I could. I did that as part of Jane Austen July, so if you are interested in that video, I will leave a link to it below. The editing style is very different than what I do here. There's like music and stuff that I was trying to time things to, and it took so much longer than I thought it would. And then other video, which I kind of hoped to get out before this video, but it just didn't happen, is the next Bard Book Club video, which is gonna be about Merchant of Venice. So expect that one to be out in the next couple of days. So I've actually been living a lot in the Regency era between Jane Austen July and my time at the Jane Austen Festival. But now it is time to rotate the century over a little bit and move into the Victorian era. So this year we've got 5 challenges, one from each of the hosts, Kate, Katie, and Lucy. Then there's a group challenge and a bonus challenge. And I actually realized that one book can satisfy all 5 challenges for me. So I'm definitely going to be reading that one. It is Bleak House by Charles Dickens. So Kate's challenge is to read a Victorian sensation novel. When I was looking at her recommendations for what to do for her challenge, I saw Bleak House, which I don't immediately associate as a sensation novel, but Kate said it's okay. So that's my sensation novel. Katie's challenge is to read a Victorian book set in the countryside and or the city. I haven't read Bleak House before, but I know that there is stuff going on at a law court, and I'm pretty sure that's in London, so we definitely got city going on. Lucy's challenge is to read a Victorian book with a female main character. Obviously this is Dickens, so we have a bit more of an ensemble cast, but I believe the mainest character is Esther Summerson, one of those. The group challenge is to read a popular Victorian book you haven't read yet. I haven't read Bleak House yet. And then bonus challenge, read aloud a section of a Victorian work or have it read aloud to you by a friend or an audiobook. So if I just read some of Bleak House out loud to myself, thank you very much, Bleak House. That does all of the challenges for me. So once I had that down, I was like, oh, I can just sort of read whatever other Victorian novels I feel like. So I'm gonna be doing 2 rereads. First one is of The Turn of the Screw by Henry James, which I realized I actually hadn't reread for several years, and it's a book that I quite like, and it's short, so I'm going to be doing a Turn of the Screw reread. I also want to reread The Semi-Attached Couple by Emily Eden, which I read, I think, 2 Victobers ago and absolutely loved. It's very, like, silly, so I thought it would be a good chaser for Turn of the Screw. Then in Victober, I always like to make sure that I progress a little bit with one of the sort of big hitters of the Victorian era that I haven't read in their entirety. So I've read Thomas Hardy and, ooh, not quite the Brontes. I haven't read The Professor, but almost the Brontes in their entirety. So I like to make some progress with Dickens or Gaskell or Trollope. So I've already got Dickens, but I would like to also read Cranford by Elizabeth Cleghorn Gaskell. Now Bleak House is quite long, so those 4 books are the only ones that I like really want to get to, but if I have more time, I do have some stretch goals for my TBR, one of which is to read Far from the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy. A couple years ago, I finally finished all of the novels of Thomas Hardy, and I told myself that I was not allowed to reread any Hardy until I had finished all of his novels, and so I want to sort of bask in my enjoyment of being able to reread Thomas Hardy. So Far from the Madding Crowd is actually, it's been the longest since I read that one. And I'm also interested in reading a drama in Muslin, which was later published just under the title Muslin by George Moore. Finally, I'm kind of trying to leave a slot open for other books that I hear about that sound interesting. So since I don't have to stress too much about meeting all of the challenges, if somebody else like reads and reviews a book and I think it sounds really good this month, I'm gonna go read it. Normally during Victober, I get to hear about a bunch of new Victorian novels, and then they sort of like go down on the list to read eventually or to get to next Victober, and I think it might be nice to hear about a book that I want to read and then immediately go read it. And since these are all published before 1924, they're all in the public domain. In case you guys don't know, anything in the public domain in the US, which is basically anything published before 1924, and also a couple of other things, is out of copyright and is probably available on Project Gutenberg, gutenberg.org. So you should never spend money for an ebook of a Victorian novel. So on Project Gutenberg, you can either read the books in the webpage, or they have various different file formats that you can download to read on your Kindle app or your Kindle itself or whatever your preferred reading device is. So little bonus tip for you there, and all that is left is for me to wish you all a very merry Victober.